Lethe of Hades. You are the grounded, sounding like this. Whoa. I think I messed up because I just pressed the same. I backspaced and then went in with the same descriptions and stuff for this YouTube video. Lethe of Hades is for space nature transfer. Ancient pantheism was a science before the sciences became criminally foreign influenced. The elements of religious books, for example, and the sciences, they have uses of words like evidence, like data, like facts that are criminally foreign influenced. While in defenses of that are as criminally foreign influenced fact, treatment, nature, quality, aspects of nature, as criminal insidious as nature's countries A through Z, individually grouped and together, voicings for and as humanity, species, volume, /S, that of differences. We could be systems other, but it will force Lethe of Hades. Force space nature transfer. Nature is its identity of relationship to itself, where it is already an identity of relationship to positive and negative simultaneously, where and how it is the quality of diffusion, distinctly from, but also non-distinctly from ourselves, and hyper simultaneously. And where that is manifest as a trinity, we are inside it. So that manifest, and it is also manifest appearing to be 5 identities of sequence / simultaneous nature. But they are those 3-way bound. They ways bound. Because of how an identity has relativity to the only increasing distinct difference between there are 5 different connected identities of sequence / simultaneous nature that are also 3 ways bound, while they are one identity: cell nucleus, cell body, cell wall. There are 3 distinct identities of relationship to itself, as itself, the hyper invisible that comes with this, and with the extent of the invisible but still discernible through the parts of cells and of everything that we could discern. See, there is the identity of reception as sequence / simultaneous nature, as an identity of it, in reception of water and its elements, in reception of gases and its elements, and as a quality of diffusion as ourselves, and as what we contemplate or put forward. For example, what would the breaching method put suburbs tactically denatured and sustain slavery / torture against everyone, and laws that forced everyone to pretend other, where they were being calm and or where they were being aggressive and loud, measured and maintained as psychopaths by the laws. They also have the definitions of the words since semi-ancient times: criminally foreign, self-valued, criminally foreign influence, having been, where that is self-valued used remotely. See, that's not to make an insult. This is the possession of the human fact treatment nature, nature being its identity's course. Why and how the other species bodies are individual group differences, and species body of volume difference. Where and how that has conjunction to why and how we have black people's white divide. Nature is teaching us answers that we have tactically replaced, and all kinds of theories tactically self-valued. And this is styles of logic that are getting, in other words, this is why and how other things, others, or selves, where and how the proper answer /S to a whole bunch of questions inherent, active, and increasingly with American history. The breaching method as the answer It is blamed on other things, others, and or on selves. The breaching method's uses of that is maintaining that, but through our own. And what that causes and keeps increasingly, that is effectively used to blame other things other than ourselves, even when correctly. They say money. If we allowed honesty, especially honesty, would have shown the real answers. Everyone lying and pretending not, because they're leaving out exception nature. They're leaving out how nature uses a special difference. One body of hyper difference can only make more of its one body that's still positive onto itself, where there's already an extent of positive making more positive of itself, where it's conjunction to positive and negative simultaneously. Science reveals this. This is why the first parts of the Old Testament and of the Quran say all you're supposed to understand it and defend is right here. See, those exceptions, the exception nature, everyone values the stewards of each science, including each religion, defending them with passions and emotions as psychopaths, valuing the only increasing value of what is said right up front by those books is the only important part. See, we have subject treatments that leave out the value of sequence true, that leave out the value of that which is hyper evidential. There are measured and maintained self-value uses of words like documents, where and how simultaneously words like evidence and data and facts are being and having been used. This employs and effectively employed people to say, oh, this person is good or bad, leaving out where those differences and the exceptions to it were measured and maintained, propagated tools by the breaching method that caused negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, through nature demonstrating itself, apart with the logic, apart with the fact-keeping nature, therefore as identity. When I say nature, I'm referring to identity's relativity to positive and negative simultaneously, and further simultaneously to the identity of space/existence as the identity of the hyper simultaneous, as the only increasing value of discerning that distinct identity of simultaneous that is coupled with that and how these are one of the things we are constantly where and how what is constant and variable is coupled with the only increasing value simultaneously of a special difference. Just like all the parts of your body have including grouped, they have a semi-nature relationship to your complete identity, including note how as sequence/simultaneous nature, some ways, and as simultaneous nature/sequence nature simultaneously, other ways. Nature answered to ancients and gave us means to answer questions. But its body will only make more of itself that is positive unto itself with a special difference here, or it will force Earth's difference that we are the exception of being a hyper additional aspect of. But this aspect, quality in nature as humanity, is the one species that is criminally foreign influenced, tactically delusions wrought, used remotely self-valuing going to outer space, used remotely uses of logic defending that where there are legitimate means to self-value going to outer space, including defense needs. See, but they leave out exceptions, exception nature, how nature uses it distinctly from. While not as non-distinctly from our own selves. So, but we have made nature's system other than its own. This is what we discern when we know that, and how. Below our feet were designed suburbs, and let alone cities didn't even get designed yet. But when our founders were born, the suburbs north and south had roles with slavery through other European countries, African countries, other lands rolls with this. Names of the species body now as individuals grouped in together. Tactical terrier. As systems tactical terrier from the one that's positive unto itself. This is why each self is one identity of volume that can only make more of itself through a whole bunch of other identities individually grouped in together. Now this is a science that uses exception nature. They use the value of subject treatments, of predicate treatments, with sophistication that our modern countries' identities of the law cannot afford discerned, because they have had roles with predicate acts delivery system method. Forgiveness is not to give up. Forgiveness is not to counter others leaving out the breaching method, which reveals the existence of a hyper archetypal criminal enterprise, and or that which as something more probable and increasingly more practical than that relevant. Also, as we need immediate relief from tactically maintained self-value uses of theories formally, uses of things that are positive like research to help understand subjects as a means for those criminal insidiousness natures of debate, and uses of the aside syndrome, where people describe when they were in other locations with people. And that is increasingly used to imply conversations and natures of ties between people that never were. And creating with tricks where they're making fake exceptions increasingly. All formal private identities of the law, each age of their fact sheet because of use of identity, including at the same time with overt criminal enterprises and private ones, each age of their fact sheet nature. Reliant upon positive and negative treatments that are criminal insidious natures of positive treatment, not just negative treatments. When they're making identity of value treatments, we are its identity. The exceptions where we are hyper additional, they're in demonstration of the same thing, how it makes more of itself. That's why each self can't help but be an individual valuing or ignoring the value and being demonstrated of ignoring the value of how groups are formed by its body too. And how the value of the species, human species, with our syntax is only increasing, forced by itself, its identity of relationship to itself. So it will only stay to an extent positive and negative, positive to all parts of space nature, space/existence. But then it has stayed further in a special difference as Earth's and as our own hyper additionally to, while semi as each other, and completely as, because we are completely its volume. So we're not as it's completely, it's how it is, its identity relationship to itself, and the only increasing value of that as a hyper transfer. The value of its distinct identities of sequence/simultaneous nature to its complete identity. that is completely filled in, but those demonstrations they were effectively employed in semi-ancient times. They effectively employed the identities of the law every modern country, of the sciences, including boxing, martial arts, and wrestling, how they were originally revealed. A part functional with the Campus Martius, a part functional with the republic for which we stand, a part functional with its conjunction / hyperconjunction as, semi as, and then completely as, we're appearing not, the ground. That's only because it's being coupled by the only increasing value of 5 identities of sequence / simultaneous nature that will not mix because they're only increasingly volume. And where volume equals value as nature / nature as value. And again, nature is identity is volume science / hyper volume science. So when we have debates about what they say is the most important thing, for example, with the religions, 2 of the religions, and you know it's all of the religion because they're leaving out the significance with their logic of how the sciences became criminally foreign influence, of how really the language is what's really if we were really had honestly properly with what we know, archaeological evidence, we would have realized the existence of that which is hyperarchaeological. We would have realized the forensic locations, still tactically, criminally foreign influence, fact, nature, quality, aspects, and nature. Uses of their descriptions of all instances, locations, value treatments, identity treatments, time justifications. Everyone's getting over on Forever Nation's course. Vaccines, just do not forget. Thank you.